You are listening to Aurora's podcast, episode 15. Do not do stupid things. Before we get going, please support my channel by hitting that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you very much. Let's continue where we left off, where I've found a dozen of rifles and hunting guns. So, I was so shocked and was scared. Why would it be there? I quickly called Joe to check up on all of these guns, to see if they were loaded, and yes, it was loaded, all of it. You see how insane Jack was. This was the plot he created that I mentioned earlier, that he would make sure I would go to jail, but he failed miserably. Jack intentionally loaded all of his guns and rifles and hid it all at the back of the trunk in hopes of, if I ever run away from him using his car, he could report that the car was stolen, then I could be locked up for a long time. Smart, right? He would be able to do that since the car that I have been driving all along was in his name, even though I was responsible for the monthly bill. Anyways, so Joe took me to his house just a few miles away from Jack's house. I left everything behind and got myself just a few pairs of clothes. It was already 8 a.m. Saturday. Mind you, that this was the hour that I was supposed to arrive at the San Francisco arrival airport. Still, there was no way for me to contact my cousin to let her know that I won't be there, but I had these feelings that I will find a way somehow. Joe made some breakfast. It was perfect because I was starving since I haven't had any in the last 12 hours since Jack confiscated my identification documents. After breakfast, Joe unhooked the phone from his living room and kitchen and instructed his 15-year-old daughter to watch me, making sure that I would call no one. He was saying this to his daughter in front of my face. Joe then told me to go to one of their spare room and ordered me not to make any stupid move. He was giving me a hint not to use the phone. While I was in the room, it was the most uncertain moment that I have to deal with. I know I can do this, I said to myself. I had nobody but myself. As the saying goes, there's always light at the end of the tunnel, right? This was yet another ordeal I had to face. I had to be positive and make the best out of it, and I need to focus on how to get away from the state I was in. Later on that Saturday afternoon, Joe was outside the porch and talking to Jack on the phone, but I can't quite hear his voice, so I wasn't sure if they were talking about me. By dinner time, Joe's family were having dinner and did not invite me to eat with them. So I decided to just kneel down at the corner of the room and prayed all the way to midnight. I was so frazzled by this time and hungry, and I was still at the corner sitting on the floor with my head leaning on the bed. I got up and peeked outside my room toward the kitchen if someone was still awake. The living room was dark, but I could see the glaring lights from the kitchen nightlight. I then slowly walked out of my room, went straight to the kitchen, and scavenging whatever they had left from their last supper. I found a slice of bread and orange juice. I gobbled the bread down quickly and drank the juice without stopping. Oh yeah, that's how hungry I was. I went back to my room very quietly and went to bed that night. The next morning, which was Sunday, I woke up with the non-stop barking of the dog. I realized I had overslept. It had been already 11 a.m. I went to see the window to check why the dog was barking obnoxiously. I saw my fellow coworker, my Filipina friend fiancé, outside the fence seemed to have been looking for me. I looked around. Joe and his family seemed to just ignore him. So I went outside to check on him. How do you know that I'm here? I said to my male coworker. He goes,
I kind of got the idea since you are not at your house and I saw your car was there, but you're not, so I found this address by looking up your brother-in-law's name on white pages. You were supposed to be at the airport yesterday. My fiancé told me the story about how abusive your husband to you, and I just found out. I am sorry. No man should ever treat a woman like that. So how are you? Are they treating you all right here?
I just nodded and started crying. I said to him while I was sniffling woefully, "Thank you for coming. It feels good when someone cares." He goes,
Is there anything I can help you with? You know, if you really need to leave this state. I do have a car that I was about to donate it to the Salvation Army, but you can have it.
I thanked him for his kindness, but I told him, "I can't accept such a generous help. Thank you for the offer." He goes,
Well, just keep this money. You will need it for traveling away from this state.
He handed me an envelope with $300 on it. I told him that I can't accept it, but he insisted. He left and told me to take care. Another night passes, and this was the third night with no food. I was scavenging food again, doing the same thing from the night before. I felt like a famished dog that were left behind by its abusive owners. I felt like a prisoner and was being watched 24/7. By Monday morning, Joe knocked the door by 7 a.m. I found out that Jack summoned me to meet him at the court. He said we will see Jack at the court. What court? I said to Joe. He goes,
Just be ready, we will need to be there by 10 a.m. sharp.
That is all for the day. Watch out, why am I being summoned by Jackass in the next episode. If you are listening this far, thank you so much. See you on my next podcast show. Aurora out.